For more than 70 years, the alliance between the US and Australia has been this bedrock of security in the Pacific. But right now, that relationship is facing its biggest test in generations. So we're going to dive into why this incredible bond is suddenly under so much pressure. Wow. Daddy is not coming to save us. He is putting us in danger. I mean, think about that for a second. That quote from analyst Emma Shortis really gets to the heart of this fiery new debate happening down in Australia. The whole idea of America as this reliable protector, it's being challenged like never ever before. Some are even asking if the very alliance meant to keep Australia safe is now its biggest threat.
So what's going on here? Why this sudden crisis of faith? Well, it's kind of like a perfect storm. You've got the potential return of Donald Trump and his America First policy, mixed with the undeniable rise of China. And that mix, it's created this huge cloud of uncertainty, and it's forcing Australia to face some really, really tough questions.
See, the whole America First doctrine really changes the game. Trump's approach is, it's transactional. It means that old loyalties, that sense of we've always had your back, that's not a given anymore. It's less about shared history and values and more like a business deal that's constantly being reviewed for its price tag. And for a country like Australia, that just shakes the very foundation of their entire defense strategy.
So that really begs the question, right? How did we even get here? To really get why this moment is so critical, we've got to look back. How did this unbreakable alliance even start? Its roots go deep, forged in the fires of 20th century conflict.
Okay, part 2, a history of mateship. And that word, mateship, really is key. The story of this alliance is all about shared battlefields and a shared way of looking at the world. It's a partnership that has pretty much defined Australia's place on the global stage for decades.
Let's just walk through this for a second. It all starts in 1951 with the AUNZUS Treaty. That was the big post-war security blanket for the Pacific. Then you had the 60s, and Australia is right there with the US and Vietnam. Fast forward to 2001, and after 9/11, Australia invokes the AUNZUS Treaty's defense clause. Talk about loyalty. And then, in 2011, Obama's pivot to Asia brings US Marines right onto Australian soil, in Darwin. So you can see, this relationship just kept getting deeper and deeper. And all of this, for over 70 years, was built on one single massive assumption. What was it? It was the idea that America was the undisputed top dog in the region, the dominant military power, the dominant moral power, period. It was this core belief that American power was just unquestionable, unchallengeable.
Because that core assumption? Yeah, it's been shattered. Absolutely shattered. A series of massive, seismic shifts have just completely turned the old order on its head. All that certainty from the past? Gone. Replaced by a new era that's, volatile and seriously unpredictable. Just look at this contrast. The old reality for Australia was living in a region dominated by a powerful ally that was, culturally pretty similar. First it was the British, then it was the Americans. But the new reality? The region is being shaped overwhelmingly by the economic and military might of Beijing. That is a fundamental change that forces a complete, from-the-ground-up strategic rethink. So you could say China's rise created the problem, but it was Trump's election that really forced everyone to wake up and smell the coffee. It completely tore away any, excuse for wishful thinking, as one analyst put it, any hope in Canberra that things would just magically go back to the good old days of American dominance. Yeah, that was over. The party was officially over.
And this is where things get really fascinating, almost paradoxical. At the exact moment that America's reliability is being questioned, Australia is tying itself closer to the US military than ever before. I mean, deeper integration than at any point in their history. It's a real head-scratcher.
Basically, Australia is turning itself into what some are calling a continental gift for the US military. The entire continent is being reimagined as this massive, unsinkable aircraft carrier, a strategic hub for American forces in the Indo-Pacific. But, and this is a huge but, that comes at a massive price. It potentially puts a giant target on Australia's back in any future conflict that involves the United States. And we're not just talking about a few extra soldiers here and there. Look at these facilities. Pine Gap. That is absolutely critical for America's global spy network. Missile defense, the whole shebang.
Then you have naval bases that are vital for communicating with nuclear-armed submarines. These places aren't just on Australian soil. They plug Australia directly into the central nervous system of the entire U.S. global military machine. And then there's AUKUS. This is the real game changer. This pact involves sharing one of the most secret, most sensitive technologies the U.S. has, nuclear submarine propulsion. This is a massive leap for the alliance. It basically locks Australia into America's strategic plans for Asia for, like, the next 50 years. And the price tag on all this, it is absolutely staggering. We're talking about 10 billion Australian dollars, and that's just to build one new naval base on the East Coast, a base that isn't only for Australia's new submarines, but also to host visiting nuclear subs from the US and the UK. It's a huge investment. So you take all of this, the Trump uncertainty, China's rise, and this ever-deepening military hug, and you throw it all together. What do you get? You get one of the most intense, most important foreign policy debates in Australia's entire history. The country really is at a massive crossroads. And this isn't some polite little chat over tea. As a late, great diplomat Alan Gingle put it, the debate is getting sharper. People are, in his words, marshaling themselves into hostile camps. It's getting fierce, it's getting polarized, and the stakes could not be higher. So, let's break down these two hostile camps. On one side, you have the China hawks. Their argument is pretty simple. Double down on the alliance with Washington, push back against Beijing, and do everything possible to preserve the U.S.-led order in Asia. But then, on the other side, you've got the advocates of U.S. decline. They look at the U.S. and see a great power that's fading, fast. And their conclusion? Australia has to find a new way to live in a world where China is the dominant force. It might even have to learn to defend itself alone. But what if there's another path, a third way that tries to find a middle ground? The idea here is to reshape the alliance, keep America involved, but not necessarily in the driver's seat. It's about building a new balance of power in Asia by teaming up with other key middle powers like Japan, India, South Korea, and Singapore. And the most important part, Australia has to become way more self-reliant when it comes to its own defense. And that really brings us to the biggest, most fundamental question of all. As this alliance gets deeper and deeper, with every new base, every new pact, every new submarine, is Australia actually getting more security? Or is it just trading away its sovereignty, its ability to make its own choices at what might be the most dangerous and uncertain time in modern history? That is the massive, fateful choice the nation is facing right now.